right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history. You don't know the power of the Sensation Station Network. The power.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what things you want.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk. Good afternoon. Welcome to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, coming to you every Thursday at 1 p.m. on the Sensation Station Network, Radio Not Dumbed Down. We have an awesome show lined up for you today. We have a young man that's going to come in, and he's here to talk to us about surviving the gang life and drugs, something you don't want to miss. But before we get deep into that, I got to talk about this past weekend. Now, you know, the Cowboys came up in here and got their behinds handed to them. Y'all know I'm just too fit to be tired about
yes,
that
I know your feelings were hurt really, really bad.
You know, usually I have a bad attitude.
Yes.
I shut my phone off and don't talk to nobody for a good 3 weeks or two.
And, you know, that's why I didn't call you. I said she won't answer.
But the cool thing was, our Dallas Cowboy fans showed up and showed out. We owned Atlanta.
Oh, my
I want to
gosh.
say a big hello to my star status hard hitters,
Yes.
my star hitters, my Carolina Stars, everybody that I met that came here that was a Cowboys fan. Yo, we did the dang on thing. And I'm here
Yes.
to tell you, it was awesome. That's why I wasn't too upset, because I met some really, really nice people. I want to give a shout out to Coach, Callie T, Cooks, all you guys that came in from Cali and came out here and did your thing. Tina, thank you for coming. That we had a day party, Santrell, and we had a welcome reception for all of the Cowboy fans that came in, and it was amazing. We had that at Empire. And I also want to give a big shout out to Sherman Williams, who kicked off the weekend for us. He was on our show on Thursday, told us a little bit about him.
Sure is.
And
A great guest.
did his book sales and so forth, and he's a really, really nice person, and we really had a great time. So even though we had to go home with sore behinds, we showed up and showed out as the fan base. But we travel. Everywhere we go, we travel.
Yes, it was amazing, Cherry, because coming up to Empire, I had never gone to an event like that to see people from all over the country. I just stood back in awe watching you guys. I said, these are some fans for you.
Oh yeah, we had a great time, and
Yes.
I'm telling you, it was so amazing that it was like, man, you talk to these people all the time online,
Right.
You see it, but you don't. And when you actually get to meet them, it's crazy. We had a great time. I mean. And I can't remember the hitter fan that had Jerry Jones tattooed on him, Jason Garrett.
Oh, my God.
Look, he wins the award for the Super Cowboy
Yes.
fan. I don't care whoever else out there saying that y'all got it, you don't.
He has
it. He has it. I'm telling you, it was great. And I missed a lot of my hitters that came in because I was running different events, so I couldn't be at all of them. But we had a great time, and that's why I didn't have a bad attitude because of the loss. I was a little salty, I'm not going to lie. It was so bad. I had a little 8-year-old yesterday. I had my little cowboy stuff on because, you know, I'm going to wear my gear. Don't talk trash to me because I'm going to wear it. This little boy followed me around the store. Falcons rule. Falcons rule. I was like, you know what? You're a little boy. I can't tell you what I want to tell you.
Where's your mother?
Look, where your mama at? Because she got to come get you because I might spank you. You know? Rolling up on me like that. It was so cute. He followed me for a good 5 minutes.
Cute.
Falcons rule. Falcons rule. You guys lost. I was like, really, little boy? If you don't go home, where your mama at? I asked him too. Where's your mama? Because she need to get you. You about to get a whooping, you know? And he knew the score.
Wow.
That was even worse.
Wow.
I think he couldn't have been no more than 8 years old.
It shows
If
you how
8.
early they start off, man. Families.
You know, but it was okay because, you know, I understand y'all did what y'all came to do. I don't know what we came to do. I don't even look. And I know Dak felt like Romo out there on the field. He had to. I stopped counting after the 4th sack. I just stopped counting because it was painful.
You say painful.
It was really
It hurt
painful.
your heart. It wounded you.
And then let me
so.
give you a shout out here to these Giant fans. Y'all had the nerve to be talking about us losing. I know y'all ain't talking about nobody.
Yeah,
I know you ain't.
The Giants just need some serious help. You know, that's
Girl,
my
they just-
husband's team, and he is just like defecting. You know what Jack said? I got to give it up to Jerry. He said, I'm jumping on the Cowboys bandwagon. He said, because I can't deal with my Giants anymore. I can't do it. And he's like, the whole team is disappointing.
Listen, I'm telling y'all it's crazy, but we are going to have a super show coming up. Like I said, when we're going to come back, we're going to introduce Edward to you. We're going to talk about a man's worth, superwomen, family ties, and then we're going to give you knowledge is power. Don't go anywhere. Come back. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Well, you'll see what happens. Sensation Station Network.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie. But Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special. Sit down and savor. Marie Callender's. It's time to savor.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I am an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Y'all need anything else?
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. Today we got an exciting show for you. We're going to be talking to Edward, and I'm going to introduce him in a few minutes. We're going to be talking about how he survived the gang life and drugs. This is the time, too. We want you to go ahead and listen in, and if you want to comment, type your comments in on the comment section on Facebook, and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us to TuneIn Radio, go ahead and text or call at 678-613-5857. So right now what I'm going to do is go ahead and have Edward introduce himself. Tell us your name and what you do right now.
My name is Edward Encinas, and I work with Southern Elite Contracting. We get free inspections for any weather-related damages that, a lot of it came from the hurricane. So you guys can contact me at 520-278-1622.
So Edward, we met. He's a Cowboy fan. Woot woot. He saw me walking across the parking lot at Kroger's, and he was like, "Hey, you a Cowboys fan?" I was like, "Yeah." So that's how we met, and then we got to talking, and he has an amazing story, Santrail.
Wow.
And on this section, Edward, we talk about a man's worth. We like to give advice or some solutions to the men to overcome certain things, and we know with men, you guys don't talk a lot about what happens to you or what you go through, and you keep it kind of bottled inside, so that, we were saying, could lead to some type of destructive behavior. And for you, as you were sharing a little bit, how old were you when you got into the gang life? What attracted you to that?
I think it's just friends. When I was younger, I would say 10 years old.
Wow.
Really didn't have no structure at home, so I just kind of ran with the friends, and that's avenue they pursued, so I just followed with them. And running with a group of people, you feel like you're part of something. So that's really what it is.
I hear that a lot, that when people are part of gangs, they said it's just like a family outside of a family, if you don't have that type of family life at home. So you started at 10, because it was just, and it was, I guess for me to understand, was it like the love or just the fact of somebody being there for you?
It's just like if you get kicked out of home or, no one's there, you go and they answer your door, that you have somewhere to go and you feel like, hey, they got my back, so you feel like, hey, those are the people that got me. So no one else got me at home, so they got me. That's kind of what it is.
Wow. So is it that sense of belonging that you felt like you were lacking, or?
I didn't really feel that at the time, but if you look back, I guess that's what it would be.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a cool thing. I'm just going to go with my friends. This is what they're doing, so this is what I'm going to do, correct?
Yeah, you could say that.
You could say that?
Yeah.
So you got into the gang at 10. So what led you to, is that when you started doing drugs? What was the part of the drugs?
Yeah, I've done some drugs that young that I just came across. I've done some drugs that young that I just actually came across. I didn't know what it was, so I would ask, someone older homie that what it was, and he told me how to do it, and that was really what it was. But I didn't get into it heavy on drugs until I was like 16, 17.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
It is.
I know a lot of guys out there that you guys, like he said, if you're kicked out of a home and you feel like you don't have a sense of belonging, that sometimes we resort to those type of lifestyles and do certain things. For you, thinking back now, especially at 10 years old, wow, that's deep. Was there anybody else in your family that was affiliated with gangs, or is it just something you just did? Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of my family.
Oh, wow. Okay. That could be a
factor, yeah.
Yeah, was it pressure to be a part, or?
No, but, at that point, you would pressure people into it, but, once you feel like you're a part of it, you're like, man, like, come on, like, to other people, that like friends that aren't in it, so it kind of just like a snowball effect, I guess, it was, with people and friends.
So you didn't see any downside at all while you were involved with this at all?
No.
None?
You never really do. You never really do on anything you do. When you're doing something bad, you don't see the downside of it until it's too late,
Right.
That's why, for me at least, but I didn't see nothing bad about it, so it was all just fun and games.
Wow. So what would you offer to a man out there right now that, if you think back what you were going through, that made you say, hey, it's okay to do this, family's in it, this is, other people are here. What would you say to a young man or a person out there that is, I want to say lost, is that a good word to use, lost, or just feels like that they don't have anyone around? How would you keep them from going down that path? What would you offer them?
To try to find someone, there has to be somebody in, everybody's family that has been through something. Find someone that's been through something and talk to them about it, Like, don't feel like you're alone, because, that's a lot of issues. People feel like they're alone. So you can always find someone to talk to, whether it's on the street or anybody, someone that will listen. Just don't feel discouraged if you want to talk to somebody, they don't want to listen, find someone else.
So let me ask you this, to Cherry's point, you're talking about the young people. What would you offer to a parent? Maybe it's a single parent, maybe their child is they're seeing their child do some of the things that they don't want them to do. What advice could you give to a parent?
Just try to find every kid's different, because I got 3 boys, and every one of them personality is different.
Right.
So, you really got to try to find and not force it on them to talk to you, Like, find out what's wrong, and just be patient, and just love them, it's hard. I don't really know what to say to a parent that has a kid going down that path. The best thing I would say is, if you got to force them, go into sports, boxing, something, read with them. I don't really know. Books are a big thing for me.
So what do you do with your boys to keep them focused? I know a big part of your story, you moved from the element to start over. Is this what you're doing for your boys, to give them a chance that you didn't have?
Oh, yeah. I do something different with each of my kids, because my oldest one's, like, he's real emotional. The middle one, he's really, he's just, everyone's different. You got to do something, you got to go about each one differently. You can't treat them all the same. So, with the oldest one, I'm really there for him emotionally. So if he, has an issue or he's, pouting, I don't just shrug it off as much as I would with the youngest one, So I try to be there attentive to him, the oldest one, because he's been through the most, He's been with me since I was 16, 15.
Okay.
So, he's been through a lot, too. So And then my middle one, you don't really have to pay too much attention to him. But if he needs something, I give it to him. The baby, he's always with me.
So. Yeah.
But I like how you said that, because I think that's important for us all to remember with our kids, that they are all different. You can't there's no blanket way to deal with them all. You've got to customize your approach. So that's great that you reinforce that.
Yeah.
And and I really applaud you, because so many people don't get out.
Right.
So many people stay in because they're afraid if they separate, then they won't have. It's that fear. So were you afraid to leave? I mean, because it was your whole life.
I didn't want to leave. It was just one single dramatic,
incident
that changed everything. Where I was like, no, nah. Like, it was a life-changing, it was that fork in the road where it's like, man, I got lucky, So, I mean, either do it again or you want to risk your life to do it again. You got I just had my newborn, my oldest son. He was just a newborn. I was like, man, I can't do that. So I just.
Yeah, I know it's really tough, and like again, I applaud you for talking to us about it. You guys, we're to Edward, and we're talking about surviving the gang life and drug addiction. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Wow. So you can't.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, coming to you every Thursday at 1 p.m. on the Sensation Station Network. We are talking to Edward. He is a person that survived the gang life and drug addiction. If you are listening and want to type your comment in the comment section, go ahead and do that, and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn and you want to call in and make a comment, it's 678-613-5857. And before we get back to Edward, I want to give a shout out to Maceo. And yes, Maceo, it was terrible. Brian, since you said since the Falcons lost the Super Bowl so bad, we wanted to make sure they could breathe again. Yes, I got that. And Charles and Russell, thank you for listening in. So, Edward, we were talking about you joining the gang at 10 years old. Wow. Mm-hmm. Where any other family, you said you had family members, were their siblings or just like uncles, aunts, or whatever?
My brother, cousins, a lot of cousins, uncles. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And had you not, up to that point, there had not been any difficult things that had happened to them during that gang life that you saw?
Yeah, but it's just kind of glorified, I guess.
Okay. So that wasn't any way to deter you at all.
No.
Wow.
No, I guess if that's all you know and what you see your whole entire life, you don't see the danger. or the harm in it. Let me ask you about your uncles and stuff like that. Was your father apart or no?
No.
No?
My dad wasn't. I mean, he was when he was younger, but he got, he had 3 kids too, so.
Okay, so
He
yeah.
kind of, he stayed in, like, kind of, associated with it, but he wasn't
Okay.
part of it.
I was wondering about that because, like I said, sometimes our men, a lot of times their parents aren't there, their dads aren't there, fathers aren't there, and sometimes that's what leads them to the gang life. That's why I was asking. So how old were you when you said 16 is when you really started drugs, or how old was it when
I would
you
say 17, yeah.
17?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
not bad.
Wow.
And now what made you just switch to that? Was it,
Switched to
I mean,
it?
to make it like something that you just latched
I
onto?
mean, it kind of just it's like a taper effect. Like you start small, and then you meet someone that does it, and then, it just, you do it for a little bit on the weekends, and then it becomes, you do it before work, and then you do it every other day, and then you lose your job, and you lose your place, and then you lose your family, and then it's just, you see with everybody. I saw with all my friends in the neighborhood, it's the same process with everybody. They do it once in a while, they start on it, they say, no, it's cool, like, it's just do it just to have fun. And then same thing happens to everybody. And they eventually end up homeless, I mean, like, I ended up homeless. I lost my family, I lost all that.
So what made you decide as a young man, as you were seeing all this, because you had 2 babies by
17. Yeah.
by 17, wow.
Yeah.
So you were a baby
Having
with
babies.
babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. We had our own apartment, on the bad side of town, but it's still hard. I mean, it was a long process, but.
And I can respect that because I know, even though, because it was so much a part of your life when you were from 10 years old till now, and then you decided to leave to give yourself and your kids a chance. I really think that's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just an event. You got to take, if something happens in your life and it stops and makes you think, you got 2 options. You either go get comfortable and keep doing the same thing, or you get uncomfortable and step out of your comfort zone and leave.
Right.
And that's what I did. I moved from where I was from into another city, the same state, and I just went in deep. I came clean. Once you get clean, it's just, you look back, it's like, why? It's still there though. Like, not that you wouldn't do it if it came across, but you got to separate yourself from people that everyone you can't have one friend that does it. You gotta leave everything.
Right.
And that's key, what you said there. In order for you to really get to a healing process or making it, we talk about that a lot on the show, is that you got to come to grips with yourself. You got to accept what your own nonsense is and work through it. And if you don't,
That's right.
you'll never reach that goal or that plateau you're trying to get to.
That's right.
You know?
Exactly. And the fact that you took yourself away from what was familiar, because a lot of people, and I'm sure you saw some, I can do this. You get clean and you can go back and hang out with whomever it was, but they're still doing. They're the ones who can pull you back in. So the fact that you moved to a completely different city, that took a lot of courage, but it was obvious that you really wanted change for yourself and for your boys.
Yeah, I was just, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just sick of everything, So,
Yeah.
I mean, I went through that whole process too, where I quit for a week and, got back on it. 2 weeks, got back on it. But I always had it that I wanted to quit. I just couldn't, So I just, something happened to where I was just like, man, life shouldn't be like this, Life is bad. Life is not supposed to be bad.
Right.
People are good, So I left.
We talk about that a lot, though, because it's a hard thing. Change doesn't come overnight.
Oh, no.
It's a
not at all.
process.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not easy by any means.
That's
Is it
right.
easy? Because you always have that, I always say, the little devil on one shoulder, little angel on the other, and they're talking. And it's just, which one are you going to benefit
That's
from?
right.
I think one good thing, one main thing that is part of the process is that when you're changing, don't get discouraged when you relapse or, because it's part of the process. You got to take that time, and if you can get through it and keep going, start over, start from scratch. And just don't get, because I would get discouraged, like, damn, like, why did I even try to quit? What's the point? I keep doing it. But nah, you got to overpower that negative thought and just, I'm going to start again, day one, keep going. Eventually, you'll be at day 30, day 60, you'll find something, just hustle, find something that keeps you busy. That's it.
That's awesome. Like he said, he said, and we say this all the time, fellas, and I'm glad he said it,
Yes.
that, okay, you fall off the wagon, that doesn't mean you have to stay off of it.
Exactly.
Get back up
Get back
and
up.
try again. It's that little choo-choo I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I know I can.
Right.
That's the process you got to put in your mind
That's
and think
right.
about what you can do, because I've never been on drugs. I never did drugs, but I drank a lot. Okay, and my thing for me to stop drinking was, I mean, because look, I could be sit up here sober. Y'all think I'm sober and be toe up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I was I wasn't. I always tell people I wasn't an alcoholic. I was a drunk, because alcoholics go to AA. I didn't go to AA. So. But what I started doing, and people thought it was really crazy, I had bottles of alcohol around my house, and the reason why I did that is because it was easy for me to get to, so I didn't want it. That was what I had to choose in my mind. So if it was hard for me to get it, then I'd make every effort. But if it's in my face, I'm not interested in it. It's available, and I didn't want it. I'm not saying you could do that with drugs, but I'm just saying with alcohol, it's a form of drug because it sedates you. But I was drinking to get away from problems, to escape. And the thing is, I escaped for a little bit.
Right.
But when you come back sober, guess what? It's there 10 times more. You know.
That's right. You're still there. And what I love about it is, like you said, you're not the only person who fell off the wagon and had to get back up. Many people have done it, but the key is that you continued on and you were consistent with what you did. And now look at you today.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's really amazing. You guys, you're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and we're talking to Edward. Stay tuned.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by GetSchooled and the Ad Council.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, and my co-host, Santrell G. We're here talking with Edward about being a survivor of the gang life and drug addiction. If you're listening to us on Facebook, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section, and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn, go ahead and text or call your comments to 678-613-5857. Now, Edward, this is a part of the show where we talk about the women in your life. And I have a question for you. Your mom, how did all this play out for her?
Oh, man. I mean, my mom's a strong woman. You know, I give her that. She's definitely a superwoman because we put her through the ringer, me and my brother. I mean, she's, yeah. So, I mean, it came down hard on her.
Oh, wow.
So,
I can only imagine.
She loves her boys, man.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. She'll do anything for us. So.
And it's tough. It really is tough because, you know, we women, we wear a lot on our shoulders, and the title Superwoman, we take on everybody's burdens and ours.
Right.
And your children's mother, was she a part of the gang too, or was she just someone that you met through? How did you guys meet?
Well, her brother, I was living in the new city, and her and her brother and her aunt moved in front of me, and they just moved from the Bronx in New York, and her brother was a Latin king, and he had a bandana hanging. I had mine. I say, where you from? You know, like, don't take that off over here. You know, we had an altercation. That's how we met. We had got into it, and then that was it. She noticed me. I noticed her. I thought they were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, but they were brother and sister. So when I got her, I saw her alone. I started talking to her, and she was. They were part of some gang in New York. I think it was like Bloods or something, but I don't know. But yeah, she was crazy.
That's deep because I mean I don't know.
we basically just fed off the negative energy of each other. Like we try to act cool and tough. That's it. Like, you know how kids are, like teenagers. They want to act cool, and then the girl likes it and she tries to be cool. That's all we did. We were just young and dumb, and we just we fell in love heavy. And that was it.
Oh, that's deep. So how were you with the ladies though? I mean,
me when I was younger, I wasn't. I was banging. That was it. I didn't really care about them, you know. Like I didn't. That wasn't in my agenda for the day. But if they happened, it happened.
Right.
But I didn't pursue it. I was always busy doing something else. So.
But your focus was the gang activity. It wasn't. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That has really got to be tough. Just really got to be tough. And I'm sitting here just thinking like, wow, I really wouldn't know what to do as a mom. So let me ask you something. If you have ladies that know that their boyfriends, husbands, or significant others are a part of that, gangs and drugs, what are some of the warning signs that they should look for or know?
Staying out late, money, because I remember my mom, and when I started selling drugs and stuff, they're like, man, where you get that money from, you know? So, I mean, more money around, you know, he has money, stuff like that, I guess. Acting aggressive, you know, not wanting to talk about stuff, not being open,
right?
I guess. Being, not being open, not wanting to talk about stuff. I used to get mad when my mom asked me, like, hey, you know, or when my girlfriend would ask me, hey, like, where you going? You know, I didn't want to talk about nothing. Like, man, don't worry about it, you know?
Right.
Getting aggressive, not being like, hey, I'm going to the store, you know? You want anything? They get mad, they're going to go do something, you know?
You didn't want to have to answer to anybody.
Yeah, you don't want to answer to nobody, because
Right.
you think you in charge, you think you run stuff, so. I mean, you ain't trying to, you know, you're looking for respect in the gang, so you think your mom has to respect, and you know, everyone has to give you respect before you give it to them.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So
you're going to be in charge.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Someone acting tough, I guess.
Right.
Someone trying to be a tough guy all the time.
So what was going on? Had you dropped out of school or anything? What was going on with school at that point?
I got kicked out so many times for fighting.
Okay.
So, I mean, I only went to the 7th grade still. I've never been to 8th grade. I've never been to high school. I got my GED when I was in juvenile, when I was 16. So.
Wow. So wait, you got kicked out of school when?
7th grade. Well,
7th grade.
5th,
Wow.
6th, and 7th.
So that's middle school.
Yeah, I got caught with weed in 5th grade and 6th grade, fighting. Then I hit the principal, and then I was just bad. So, I mean, I probably went to juvenile so many, you know, I mean, yeah, I was there all the time.
So your rep was up with the gang with all of this, but the rest of it was just a mess.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. You don't ever see how messy stuff is. Like, it's hard to stop and thinking, like, man, why am I doing? Like, you're seeing all the pain you're causing people.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, this ain't normal, man. You can't, you know, people don't stop and think like, this ain't normal what I'm doing. You know, like my mom's crying. You know, my girlfriend's yelling at me. My kids ain't got no food. You know, like that ain't normal. Like you should be working. Like, you know, as a man, you should stop and, or anybody, any woman or a man, stop and think, what should they be doing? Because I didn't stop and look. I mean, now I look back, but back then I thought it was all normal.
Let me ask you something. Do you have any sisters? Were they a part of the gang too, or no?
My sister's smart. She stood away from everything. She saw. I mean, you know, they say the best way to learn is from other people's mistakes. You know,
Right.
Not from your own mistakes, but from other people's. And she took that. She's smart.
Wow.
That's awesome. You know, I'm glad that, you know, she was able to see that. You guys don't go anywhere. We're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and we're going to be back with Edward some more on Super Women.
Wow.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers. People who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We are talking to Edward about surviving the gang life and drug addiction. If you guys are listening to us on Facebook and you want to type in a question or a comment, please do so in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to Tune In and you want to call or text, it's 678-613-5857. Edward, we have a question from a caller that's on, a comment online that says, what was the last straw that made you say, if I keep doing what I'm doing, you know what was the last straw for you to stop, to say?
I mean, I was selling drugs, and I was staying with my mom and dad, and I would give drugs to my dad, and there was one time where, the last time he came into my room and he asked me if I had it, and I was like, yeah, I gave him some, and he didn't have no money, so he came back and he said, hey, I got 2 cigarettes, one's broken, one's not. Here, I'll give you the good cigarette. And I kind of looked at him, and I was like, man, nah, man, I just said, you know what, just keep it here, just take it. And I was like, just keep the rest. And I was stopping thinking, I was like, man, this sounds, you shouldn't be giving drugs to your dad, and he shouldn't be, this sounds like, when I said this isn't how life's supposed to be, this ain't okay, I stopped and just took a step back, I was like, man, I was sleeping in a room full of tools and stuff, man, like in the corner, and I was giving my drugs to my family, and I was like, this ain't cool, this isn't right. So I called my aunt, my tia, and I was like, hey, tia, man, can I come down, to where you live and, stay with you? I don't have nothing. She's like, yeah, come on. That's why I tell this day, I say my tia's my angel, man. I'll do anything for her. If she called me, if she need anything, I got you. Like, my tia saved my life for real.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's wow. She had no expectation. She just said, come.
I mean, I got there.
Just come.
She never asked me for money,
right.
for rent. I mean, I also used to get yelled at for money, and for if I eat something, I get yelled at,
Yeah.
So she was a blessing, man. I weighed like 140 when I got there. By the time I left, I weighed like 200 pounds, so I was good.
Wow. Yeah. But she knew what you were into, or did she?
She knew I was a bad kid,
yeah.
She always called me her travieso, which is, like a bad.
Yeah.
Travieso. So she knew I was in it, but when she saw me, she hasn't seen me in so long, and she saw me, she's like, man, like, come here, you need to sleep, You need to sleep, you need to eat. My tia fed me all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I mean, she was a blessing.
So she had that peace that you were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, her house is my home, man. Like, even not to this day, but I don't feel comfortable anywhere but my tia's house. So,
yeah.
I mean, I love my tia.
And that's something, like I said, women, we have that nurturing spirit.
Yes.
Some of us can hone in, and the mere fact that she was able to say, look, I don't care.
That's right.
What you did in your past. I don't care what you're going through, but you come here. I got you.
Come on,
I'm going to help you.
She never treated me like I was anything.
There's no judging or anything.
No, not at all.
Wow.
I mean, we ate together, like we ate at the table and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah.
So was that something that you really didn't do at home?
Nah, I never did that. I mean, never. I mean, my family, we didn't eat. We didn't share meals or nothing. Like, so it was just weird. It was awkward doing that. If I eat at the table now, it's still kind of awkward for me, So, I mean, it was a big transition. I went to the mall the first time with her. I think I was like 15 the first time I ever went to the mall. It was in Tucson. And I had $60. I thought I was rich. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get me a gold chain. I'm going to get me some jeans. And my tia's like, Mio, you can get a pair of jeans with that. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? This is a lot of money. But, yeah, I mean, she did everything for me, so.
That's pretty awesome.
That is.
So how's your relationship with your mom and your parents now? Are they, is it better? Is it getting good? Or?
I mean, I'm trying, it's just kind of hard to start, I mean, it's kind of hard to build off of something that we had. So I'm just trying to start fresh with everything. And, I just got them out here. I got my dad working with me, and then my mom's helping me with my boys,
Okay.
So I'm trying to work on it.
Right.
But it's like you said earlier in the show. You keep going and going.
That's right.
fix it.
I mean, you only get one mom, you know, that's the way I
Right.
see it. Like, I don't ever want to look back when something happens to my mom and be like, damn, I should have done this, you know. I just took my dad to the Dallas Cowboys game, you know. So, that man, he was ecstatic. I mean, me and my dad, you know, we don't have the best relationship either, but, you know, I took him. You know, to see him happy like that, it means a lot.
Right.
And you don't work for nothing else but your family. That's what I see it.
And that's deep because that's the biggest thing for us. You know, we talk about how the mother and the father are supposed to be the nurturers for their children and to help them and protect them from all of the outside ills, if you would say. But if your parents or they are broken,
that's right.
How can they help you even get to your next phase if they're broken?
Exactly. And they can't, you know. You can't blame them either because you don't know what they've been through.
That's right.
That's the way now I'm like, you know, I can look back and blame it. I can stop and just drop and fall down and blame everything on my parents, and people will understand. But you know what? I don't. You know what I mean? I want to show my mom a better life. My dad, like, hey, look, this is how stuff should have been, you know. Like, so they get a taste of how, you know, good things happen. They have that blessing too.
Right.
So, I mean, you can't really be mad at your mom and dad because you only get one. I mean, I'm telling you.
Right, and
Take care of it,
that's awesome that you say that because a lot of
That's
people
right.
don't
They
feel
don't.
that way. You guys, you're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Meet former Dallas Cowboy Sherman Williams as he makes his way through Atlanta to Arlington, Texas, for the release of Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines. Don't miss your time to gain valuable insight on how to avoid the pitfalls of success. For appearance information, please go to info@palmerwilliamsgroup.org.
And so a new American industry has been born. Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. This is a part of the show where we put our prayers out and shout outs to people that are going through some things. And today, I got a phone call early this morning from my oldest daughter, one of her classmates. We're not quite sure if he attempted suicide or what, but he's on life support, and his name is Rashad Slater, and he's out in Orlando, and kind of hit me kind of hard because I remember them always hanging together. My daughter, you know, is very close-knit with a lot of group that she went to high school with, and it just made my heart heavy because I want to talk to my listeners and the people that are out there listening. There's nothing so hard out there that you can't come through. I know you may be feeling right now, and I don't know who I'm talking to. I know you may feel like I can't get out. I see no way out. I want to tell you that there is. I want you to stop and think. If you saying to yourself, hey, all I have to do is kill myself or take my life and all the problems will be gone away and my loved ones won't hurt, I want to let you know that's when the hurt really is deep. You are loved. Absolutely. You will be missed. and there is a solution to whatever you are going through. I want to give this number out again to the suicide hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255. It's 24 hours. If you're feeling like you want to do something or harm to yourself, call that number. Get to a church.
That's right.
Find somebody, because your life is important.
That's right.
And we all love you, and your family loves you. But I want you guys to please pray for the Slater family and all my daughter and all her classmates. You know, guys, I feel your pain with you, because it's hard when you know somebody young like that.
Yeah.
That's gone too soon. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live, and I'm your host, Cherry G.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to HereToListen.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by GetSchooled and the Ad Council.
Deliberate dumbing down. Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We are talking to our guest, Edward, about his survival out of the drug addiction and out of the gang. If you're listening to us on Facebook, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, go ahead and text or call your comment to 678-613-5857. Edward, you've been through a whole lot, and I really like your level of maturity.
Yes.
And especially now that I know how old you are, it just blows my mind that maturity level that you have. And you talked about the strain of being by yourself, feeling not there, not having the family life. My thing and my question to you, what was it like when you were younger with your family?
Really, just a lot of detachment, you know, a lot of fighting, a lot of fighting, just a lot of fighting. Really.
So you mentioned earlier in the show, too, about your son, your oldest son, that he was around for a lot of the nonsense. Can you explain a little bit what you mean?
I mean, he kind of went through what I went through, you know, for a few first part of years of his life, you know, seeing my parents on drugs, alcohol abuse, you know, seeing fighting, seeing his parents fight, you know, and he went through that too, you know. So I understand, like, when he's upset, I can feel that pain that he has behind his anger, you know, because when people get mad, they have something, you know, you got to understand why they're mad. There's something behind it. It might not be what they say it is, you know, but you got to get deeper into it, because he has a lot of anger that stems back, you know, from his mom, because might be way back from me and his mom used to fight, from his mom leaving, you know. It might be from any of that. So I try to understand, because he's real emotional. You know, he went through CPS. You know, he was in foster care for 8 months, and I finally got him back, and they were really really mad. You know, when I first got all three of them, it was hard when I first got all three of them back. So now you can see we a team. You know.
So you're a single father.
Yeah.
You know what? You
wow.
The more and more you talk, it just blows my mind, because you said a whole lot, a loaded statement just then. I mean, one, you own up to your mess.
That's right.
Two,
that's right.
You realize, hey, my son saw my mess.
Exactly.
I need now to help him work through this. Yeah. And you took self totally out of the picture.
That's right.
And you focused on your children. And this is what I want a lot of our parents out there to pay attention to.
Right.
This young man was in the gang at 10 on drugs, in and out, lost his kids, got them all back.
Right.
And moved them to a place where he's trying to make it That's a classic sign of saying to you, you can make it through whatever your mess is. You can come through it.
You didn't put your life off on somebody else. This is what I created.
Yeah, I mean, you really just gotta look at your life and your scenario, and not you can't feel sorry for yourself, because no one feels sorry for you. You know,
that's
no one cares. You know, everyone has their own problems. You can't feel sorry for yourself.
Right.
If your mom and dad are on drugs, man, like use that shit. You know, or use it to get you mad. Use it to use the anger towards something positive, you know. If your mom or dad don't pay attention to you, you know, they always fighting, they on drugs, you know, you don't have nobody to look to, you don't have no money, use that to hustle, you know, find something that you're good at, whether it's talking to somebody, reading, writing, drawing, you know, focus on it and just use it to get you out. Me, I'm good at talking to people. I can, you know, that's what I do. I'm in sales. I never thought I'd be good at it because when I started, I mean, it felt good just to put a shirt on, a company shirt. I mean, I did it for 6 months. I didn't make one sale, nothing. I mean, and then my manager was even like, man, why are you coming to work, man? You haven't made no money. It's been like almost 7 months. I'm like, man, I just feels good leaving the house with a shirt on, you know, like saying I'm part of a company. And then after a year, I was beating him, and after a year and a half, I was manager.
Wow.
And so, I mean, yeah.
Wow. But you know what you just said?
I just like talking to people. Yeah.
You said the mere fact you had on a company
That's
shirt.
right.
It didn't. You were gonna do this thing no
Exactly.
matter what it took. I mean, it wasn't making a sale nowhere.
Nope.
It was a legit you belong to something legit.
You know,
Yeah, I felt part of something. And it was nice. My kid's mom didn't like it at the time. She's like, where you going all the time, man? You ain't bring no money home. I'm
Right.
like, I'm training. You know, that's a long time training. You say you training for months. I'm like, well.
But you know what?
Hey,
You were in training.
I was.
You were in training on a new lifestyle.
yeah.
You were in
Exactly.
training on how to be more positive.
That's right.
Yeah, and
You could have easily gone back and done something you had no business doing, just
Exactly.
to make sure the bills were paid.
I was in the right neighborhood for it. So I just, like I said, I told myself when I made that conscious decision that I wasn't going to do that anymore, I didn't take a step back from it. I mean, I was broke. I mean, I'm talking about pushing carts with no car across town for food boxes type of broke.
Wow.
So as long as my kids eat, you know. But the whole process I went to made me hustle harder, you know. Like, so you
Yeah.
can't feel sorry for yourself. You just got to understand that everything you're going through now is making you stronger for, you know, what's coming, you know.
And I
like the
love,
hustle.
gosh, I love what you just said. Decision.
Yeah.
You made a decision because we sometimes think we've made a decision, but we know that we haven't made a decision when we don't change our behavior. You made a strong quality decision and your behavior changed. And your behavior changed and it became consistent when it looked like nothing was happening. Like you said, you weren't bringing no paycheck home.
But the cool thing is that you recognize each of your children are different.
Yes.
You stayed as a parent, and this is the part, like I said, I want to talk to my parents out there. You can make a difference. And do you mind if I tell them how old you are?
No, that's fine.
He's 26 years
He's a
old. He's the
baby.
same age as my youngest daughter.
Yes.
And it blows my mind to hear him talk about his ordeal. He not once in this conversation did he blame anybody
That's right.
for his misgivings. He said it was the key word was I. This was what I did. This is what my mess was.
Yes.
And this is how I tried to do it. And the mere fact that you stepped up to be a dad, and then you shared with us off the air that you kind of didn't have a real close relationship with your parents, but you brought them here, bought them a house.
Right.
Now you guys heard the man's story, right? He was pushing carts, doing sales job with a shirt and no money. But now he's running a company, a manager, and he brought a house and brought his parents here, and he's starting all over again. And let me tell you guys, it's not too late to mend those broken fences. Now, if some of them are blown up and you can't find them no more, you might have to let that go. But if there's still some boards and pieces that you can
That's
put
right.
together, nothing beats a failure but a try.
That's right. That's right. Man, I mean, I just so appreciate you just being so transparent. And another thing that I hear from you, what I love, is that you didn't overcomplicate it. It's very, very simple. You know what? This is what it was. This is how it's going to change. This is how I'm going to change it. There's no, you're not getting caught up in anything else. Just make it simple so I can keep moving.
I mean, the way I see it is that if you've been through a lot and you know the way stuff should be and the way you wanted it to be, I can look back and picture what I would have my ideal childhood to be. Then show that to your kids, or your relationship's not good with your parents. Show them how you think it should be. Like
Yeah.
I went broke, man. I brought my whole family. I brought my sister, my mom, my dad, all out here. I went broke bringing them here. You know what? I did all that for them. So when we started back up together, the way it should be.
Right.
So I mean, we got the house set up. We got everything. It's nice.
You guys are back at start. Nice.
And that's the good part. You're at start.
Yeah.
You're now bringing some stability to your children's life. And I like what you said when we were off the air is that you're trying to show them, your parents, what life should be and what it looks like. Not the turmoil that you all been in. And I know I hear a lot of people who have children that's in the gang or they're in the gang or they're drug addicts or they have some type of addiction. They just shut the door on them and close it and forget it. Your Tia came in and she was like, no, not happening. Not on my watch. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do it together. And she opened her doors. And like you said, she saved your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I hope that people are listening out there, that you hear his story, that you understand that you can go on and you can do better. You can leave the nonsense behind. I know I have, you know, because I was a hot mess. I tell people that all the time. But I really do appreciate you sharing this with us and stuff. Don't go anyway, guys. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
From the University of Alabama, the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl, then prison. The remarkable story of Sherman Williams that you must read to believe. Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines, is the incredible journey of an NFL star continued road to redemption. You must get this book now at crimsoncowboy.com. crimsoncowboy.com.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction. Invest $49 a month at a real gym. For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We have been talking to Edward, who has overcome drug addiction and the gang life, and he has, shared a lot of knowledge with us today. And I hope that my families that were out there listening, my men and women, that you got something from this, and that you understand that, hey, you know, life can go on. You don't have to stay in the mess that you're in. And I want to give a shout out to two listeners, Carl and Elizabeth. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Edward, I would like for you to give us some pointers on what you would do for your families. What would you offer your families, our men and our women out there, about what not to do that you did wrong?
I mean, just don't follow the crowd. Really, don't follow the crowd. It's not cool. You know, if you think something's cool, as far as drugs and alcohol and all that stuff, it's a waste of time. All of that, man. I mean, even going out on the weekends and partying, waste of time. All that, you know, all the money you're spending, and save your money. You know, read some books, spend time with your family, because family, I mean, it's good.
You know, you guys are hearing this from a 26-year-old.
26-year-old.
Like we were saying off the air. Hey, Todd and Russell, thank you for listening in. You've been through a lot. Yeah. From 10 years old, you were a grown man status at 10.
That's it, exactly.
I mean, think about it. I mean, I don't know much about gangs. I know a little enough to get in trouble. But at 10 years old, you were running things? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you said you were out of school from 7th grade, right?
Yeah, I only went to 7th grade.
Only 7th grade. And you guys, look, this young man is doing great. I'm really thankful that you came and shared your story with us. I'm hoping that a lot of my men and women that were listening out there, that you understand that this isn't the way life should be, you know. And like he said, he had to keep repeating the cycle. He'd fall off the wagon, get back on, and do stuff like that.
That's right.
I hope you understand the encouragement that he's just given to everyone out here.
And parents, play this for your young people.
Right.
And one other thing that has helped me a lot, just for the last year and a half, every single day, you got to listen to 1 hour or something positive, man. I go on YouTube every morning, every night. YouTube, listen to motivational videos, because there's so much mess out here.
Oh, yeah.
So much mess. I mean, I don't even watch the news, but just listen to 1 hour of positivity every day, and it'll change your life. Like,
that's awesome. I never even thought about that. That's something really good.
Right. Seriously.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Tremendous. Change.
So, Edward, what are you doing now? Give us again what company you're working for and so forth.
Well, I work with Southern Elite Contracting. We do new builds, about 30 a year. Build decks, remodels, basements, renovations, everything that you need as far as contracting, we do. I also give free home inspections. If you guys think you guys might have some damages on your roof from the storms that come through, wind or hail, we give you guys a free inspection. So it's 520 is my number, 520-278-1622.
Your cousin here, Elizabeth, She says, incredibly proud of you, cousin. Glad I got to see you grow and how far you've come. You made it. Absolutely, Elizabeth. Let me tell you something, Elizabeth. We really appreciate him coming and sharing this. A 26-year-old with this type of resolve is just mind blowing.
That's my Tia Lisa's daughter. She's
okay. Nice.
She's like my sister. Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
I mean, I'm really proud of you.
Absolutely.
I really am, and I just want you to stay strong with your boys and your family, bringing it back from, I don't know what you would call it, that you've been through. I mean, you done went through the valley, the undergrowth.
That's right.
You done been through it all.
You are changing generations for your family, Edward.
You are.
You really are that's how deep this goes. You're changing generations for your family.
Edward, we really thank you for coming this hour and sharing with us.
Thank you.
You guys, we hope you enjoyed him. Don't go anywhere.
Pleasure.
You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Man, that's awesome.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Sensation Station Network.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing the right thing.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, and my co-host, Santrell G. We are coming back from talking with Edward, who was on the show earlier today, talking about his bout with the gang life and drug addiction. But before we get into that conversation again, if you're listening to us on Facebook and you have a comment about what you've heard so far on the show, or you want to share something, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to text or call your comment, 678-613-5857. Central, wow, 10 years old.
That's amazing.
He was in the gang at 10.
You know, I can't even imagine it. I have nieces and nephews who are 9, and I as he was saying 10, I'm picturing them. I just cannot believe it. He's lived a couple of lives in his lifetime.
Right, and then the fact that he said he went to 7th grade, and that was it.
And that was it.
You know, and then had to get his GED and juvenile.
Right.
And, you know, I want to talk a little bit more about what he said as a man for our young men. You know, he talked about how he kept falling off of the wagon when he was trying to make a difference and a change, and that he kept going, that he didn't give up. And I want to encourage our men out there, take notice of what this young man shared with us. I mean, he kept going in the gang at 10, trying drugs, really got heavy into drugs at 16, 17 years old, and then didn't finish high school but went and got a GED while he was in juvenile. That speaks a lot. That lets you know that nothing is too hard for you to come from.
Because it doesn't have to be drugs or a gang. It can be, you know what, I'm looking for a job. I'm trying to do this or that. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
going.
going.
Let me tell y'all something, and it's just like what Centrell was saying. I had a stroke last year. Okay, I haven't worked at a real job since October 3rd of 2016. So, you know, I've been used to working in the corporate area, doing whatever, and for some reason I just couldn't get there. So who would have thought? Now, I don't care because I told you I'm transparent. I work in the evenings, graveyard shift, in a warehouse. Who knew?
Right.
But my thing is that's just a little stepping stone to build this and to do whatever else I know to do, because I know that I'm a survivor. You have to do that. So that's what I'm telling you. There's jobs out there. Never make yourself above what's out there. If you got to go to McDonald's, and people, please don't think that I'm thinking warehouse McDonald's or anything, or beneath jobs that you don't need to have. They're jobs and you're making money.
That's
I'm
right.
talking to those people who think they're too good for those types of jobs.
That's right, because exactly what Edward just showed us is that you do what's necessary. You do what you need to do to keep it going.
Yeah. You have to. Good afternoon, Hardcore. Thank you for joining us. You know, let's talk about this gang life.
Yeah, man. It's just, research was showing, and I couldn't believe it, because you think of the bigger gangs, and we all know the names, but that, research was showing there's over 31,000 gangs in the U.S. with almost 1 million members. That is mind-boggling. And the fact that they start so young, man.
And you know what it says to me? We got some jacked up families running around here in the United States. We got some issues. We need to get down and try to figure out what the problem is and why our children and everything are running to the gang and they think it's glorified. Now, look, I understand being in a situation, and those are the families that come to them, and that's how they feel family. And it's so sad because so many of you guys are so powerful, you don't even realize it until it's too late.
That's right. And you think about how many gifts and talents and things like that are just in the dust now because they lost their lives to being in gangs.
Right.
What talent we missed.
I know that I've heard a lot of men say that, especially in our culture, the African American race, if they live up to the age of 25, that they've done good. And that's sad for people to have that type of mentality or think that way. But just it wasn't just the gang that it was. I mean, he went in at 10, and then he started doing drugs.
Right.
Then he was selling the drugs to his family.
Exactly.
Man.
I can't even imagine. Like you said, my parent came in, and I was giving, there was addiction already.
Right.
So he, that he fell into, and now you're the supplier to your family? Really?
Look, I really am. I'm really proud of him
Absolutely.
for, saying, hey, look, I got 3 boys, I got kids, I got to stop this nonsense.
That's right.
He talked about his son going into foster care.
Right.
That's deep. But you guys,
that's
listen,
right.
y'all stay tuned because we're going to talk more about this. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Sensation Station Network. Never achieved before.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie. But Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you gonna do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan.
We can share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
And get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. Just before the break, we were talking about gang activity and drug addiction. And earlier on the show, we had a young man, Edward, on the show sharing his story. If you are listening to us on Facebook and have a comment, go ahead and type your comment in the comment section, and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, go ahead and text or call your comment to 678-613-5857. I want to give a quick shout out to William Thomas. Thank you so much for paying attention and listening to our show. We talked about 31,000 gangs in the U.S. alone with up to 1 million members.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at this thing, and it says the percentage of U.S. law enforcement agencies reporting gang problems from 2002 to 2006. It said rural counties was 27.4%, smaller cities was 48.3%, suburban areas 61.5%, and it says counties with larger cities 90.5%.
Wow. That's amazing. And I'm sitting here looking at the American Addiction Centers up to 2014. That this is startling because I know that it's even higher because of the opioid epidemic that we're dealing with. And this is 12 years old and older. 21.5 million American adults have dealt with substance abuse. And they look at the numbers say if there's drug abuse, most often there is alcohol abuse at the same time. They coincide with each other.
You know, we talk about how we have to be transparent and have to be in tune with ourselves and know stuff. You know, guys, if you're listening to the show and you're hearing these figures that we're putting out here on any of the stuff that we talked about, that should set an alarming pace for you too.
Right.
Not just us sitting here talking about it, but you should be alarmed about what is actually going on and what's being said, because let me tell you something, we've got to change some things. If this stuff is going on like that, we really need to change it. And where do we start?
Exactly.
Where do you start?
There is this really awesome group out of California. It's called gangfree.org. And what I love about them is that they have a program that they based on the Surgeon General's report. And they looked at what doesn't work. These are the things that generally we've looked at as the standard ways of treating, especially with young kids coming in: peer counseling, peer mediation, peer leader programs. Some of the things that do work are school-based social skills training that are combined with parent training. So we're looking at the entire family. Academic improvement programs that include mentor tutors, holistic programs that include social skills training, parent training, home visitation, case management, parent training. So what they're saying is go back to the family.
Right.
The root is at the family. You can't just treat the kid or the parent. You've got to treat everybody in the situation.
Yeah, no, and for my men, you know, because I really appreciate this young man sharing the story.
Yeah.
I want you guys to know, like he said, he didn't talk. He didn't want to talk about stuff. He'd get angry,
Right.
get aggressive.
Right.
I want to let you guys know, I want to encourage you. Talk. Just talk. Nothing is too hard for you to get out of.
That's
Yes, it may seem like it's endless. Yes, it may seem like there's no way out. But you've got to know and believe within yourself that you can do it. You can make it. You know, stop making excuses and blaming everybody for what your mishaps are. Like, he didn't blame anybody for his nonsense. He said,
That's right.
He said, I did this.
That's right.
You know, and when we get to the point where we can say, accept our flaws, you know, and accept our mess, then, you know, we're doing good. We're doing
Right.
good. But how do you get there, Centrell? How do you tell them to get there? How do they get there?
You know, it's a difficult thing because just like you, we all of us have some, I believe, you know, there are the skeletons that we all have in our closet. We've seen addiction in both of our families. You and I have talked about this. And it's really, you know what, sometimes you have to love people from a distance who are going through that, because you can't get caught up in their situation. You can be there for them like his Tia was. She saw that he was ready. When he called her, she may not have known everything, but she knew, like he said, some stuff that was going on with him. But she loved him. But up until then, he didn't mention it, but he wasn't reaching out to her.
Right.
So it's, you sometimes have to pull yourself back and say, you know what, when you're ready to change your life, I'm here for you. Here are some resources, but I'm going to be here for you, but I'm not going to enable you at all.
And, I like to say to our men too, because I grew up in my home, my father was an alcoholic. He drank a lot, and I think I always just tell people he drank so much because there was so many of us. He had 9 kids. I drink too. If it was, 9 different personalities. But seriously, as growing up and thinking about it, he served tours in Nam. I mean, his childhood was just turmoil. It was just off the charts.
Right.
And now I understand why he drank so much.
Yeah.
I understand that he was just trying to numb the pain, and that's all he knew to get through it.
Right.
But then there was some of us that picked up those nasty habits.
That's right.
We
Addiction
did
there.
that. We picked them up and we ran with them. I laugh about it because one of my friends, we used to do karaoke at the ABC Lounge. That was a liquor store. They had a little lounge next to it.
Wow.
We were there religiously, toe up at the bar singing. Yeah, but we look back now, and I look back on that. Who was I really kidding?
Exactly. That's right. And it's not just, we think about, alcohol and drugs. Those are the things that slap you in your face. But there's food addiction. There's addiction is addiction. But one of the things, to your point, Cherry, is that I think we have to say what it is.
Right.
Our family, stop walking around and saying, they have a problem.
No.
Yeah, stop playing like that.
Right.
They are addicted to drugs. They're addicted to alcohol, whatever it is. Let us stop brushing it under
the rug. And walking up and trying to ignore it.
What it is.
It's going to be there. It's going to be there. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie. But Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's. It's time to say.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
Say about that.
Sensation Station Network.
Wow, okay. Looks like you got your beef and your biscuit stuck down there, but it's gonna be okay. I've been through it too.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, and my co-host, Santrell G. We're talking about addictions, drugs, alcohol, gang life. We had a guest on the show earlier today, Edward, 26-year-old young man that came in, and his life started real early at 10 up until now. If you're listening to us on Facebook and you want to type in a comment or or tell us something or share something on if you've been through addiction with drugs or alcohol or even gang life. Go ahead and type it in the comment section and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn or you just want to text or call in, it's 678-613-5857. Ladies, I want to say something to you that we were doing this conversation and listening and thinking, some of us get so wrapped up and excited about that life. You know, and I don't even know if we really realize what we're getting excited about. You know, we got them dope boys. We want to, I'm going to get my Gucci. I'm going to get my Coach. But that Gucci and Coach come with a price.
Right.
You come with a 25 years to life or 6 feet under.
You're always living on the edge.
Right, because guilty by association. And why would you want to be a part of something like that?
Exactly.
When you could go out and make your own money.
That's right.
I never understood that. I never understood women that glorified that kind of stuff. I mean, and especially have their kids around it.
That's right.
You put your kids, I mean, and I'm not just talking about this stuff because I feel like, I'm just going to say it. You watch the TV shows that are out there. You got Cops. You got Snapped. You got The First 48. You got all this kind of stuff that are out there. There are real life situations that are happening, and we're not owning it.
Right. You know, people take that statement, I'm going to be his ride or die chick.
Oh, I'm going to ride and die as long as you're doing legal stuff.
Exactly.
If you illegal.
Exactly. That's not cute. There's no substance to you being his ride or die because, like you said, that's either going to put you in jail. That's going to cause a lot of heartache for you.
And why would you want to be somebody ride or die that doesn't have your best interest at heart? They don't even have their best interest at heart. You know, be a ride and die for something positive, not negative. And then all these people get mad when something happens to someone who's out there doing things that they shouldn't do. Right. Now you want to burn up buildings. You want to, the world. But what were they doing?
That's right.
You know, we got to stop that. We got to stop that as people condoning nonsense and sweeping it up under the rug. Like some of these mamas, your baby done did something off the chain, but you going to go lie and try to keep him out. My mother used to tell us this: you commit a crime, I may come and visit you, and I'll probably mail you some soap on a rope, but I am not going to stop my life for you. You will serve your time. I'm not going to bail you out, and so forth. And for the most part, they kept to that agreement.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to take a stand.
Right, you do.
And your mother said, this is what it is. Like we talked about before, say what it is. Edward said what it was. It was gang life. It was drugs. Say what it is, because that's the only way that you'll combat it. I was looking here at some stats when you talk about addiction, that 90% of people don't get the help that they need.
Right.
And I think a part of that is say what it is.
Right.
Don't be afraid to say what it is. And if they are not ready, whether it's your spouse, your loved one, or your son or daughter, as harsh as that may be, if they are not ready to say what it is, again, you may have to love them from a distance.
And let me tell you guys this too. I understand the shows called Intervention and all that stuff. They do all of that. I don't care what it is. If a person isn't ready to accept their nonsense or the mess that they're in, I don't care what program you put them in or what you're going to do. And I want to just offer encouragement to my women out there. Alcohol's not going to do it. Okay? Alcohol's not going to get rid of it. Some of us will go promiscuous and we're hopping from bed to bed. That's not going to do it either. That's only a few minutes of pleasure, and then afterwards you're sitting there like, why'd I do that? That's not going to help either. Drugs. Just doing things to self-harm your body, that's not going to do it. You've got to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, I got to stop this. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you'll do it.
That's right.
But I just want to encourage you guys out there, you don't have to just accept anything in your life. Some of us will be like, well, that's my boo, my ride or die, because he the only one that love me. That ain't love, baby.
No.
If he got your life in danger, he, she, whoever you with.
That's right.
If they got your life in danger, that's not cool.
It's just like Edward talked about, that he and his girlfriend, they were attracted to the drama and things like that. It was like, what do we call a toxic relationship? It was about the trouble that was there. It was nothing positive. That's not the type of relationship that you are going to prosper in at all, either one of you. You're not going to benefit from a relationship is where you both benefit from it. That is not one that you will benefit from.
And the thing that gets me too, we see it in the news a lot too with us women. We going to jail taking raps for our man. We letting guys come into our home that do something to our children. That either the child dies or they get abused. Let me tell y'all something. I need y'all to cut that out. Because I promise you, I did not get stretch marks for some fool to come in here and do something for my kids. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense to me. You can't be that far gone and low in your life that you just neglect what's there. I say that, but you see it happening every day.
Yeah. And it's oftentimes it's generational. So just like our guest said, he dealt with what was going on before. It didn't just start with him.
Right.
And like we just talked about, people don't get help until they are ready to get help, because the last thing you want is to have a loved one who's involved in whether it be a gang activity or substance abuse. It cannot be, when they're seeking help, it cannot be that they're doing it for you, because they will not be able to sustain it. They have to make that quality decision that
Right.
they are going to get that help for themselves. But within doing that, they've got being a part of a program that is going to take you back to find out what is the root cause of that. Where did it originate? Because you're not going to be able to fully deal with that until you are ready to do the work. And there is work to be done.
You're not going to come out of an addiction overnight.
No.
It's going to take some time.
No.
You're gonna, like he said, you're going to fall off the wagon, but you got to get back up and start all over and do it again. I don't care how
Right.
many times you have to do it, but you have to be genuine about it. You just can't be like, okay, I know I'm going to fall off the wagon tomorrow and I'll get back on it on Wednesday. No. You got to make a conscious effort to keep pushing forward. I mean, all of us have something in our life that we have dealt with that wasn't pleasant, okay? I don't think there's any person around here that has a glass house that they could throw
That's
a rock
right.
at. No, all of us have been through all of us have been exposed to different train rides in life. And you have a decision. If you're going to stay on that train and follow the path, like Edward said, it was familiar to him because
That's
half of his family was part of it. So he said, why not?
That was normal.
That was normal. You know, but he woke up.
That's right.
You know, he said the biggest turning point for him when he was selling his father drugs. That to me is
That's
still
right.
mind-blogging. But, you know, you selling drugs to your parents.
That's right. That's right.
That's deep. You guys are listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents multiple choice parenting.
You accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
From the University of Alabama, the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl, then prison. The remarkable story of Sherman Williams that you must read to believe. Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines, is the incredible journey of an NFL star continued road to redemption. You must get this book now at crimsoncowboy.com. Crimson Cowboy. crimsoncowboy.com. Meet former Dallas Cowboy Sherman Williams as he makes his way through Atlanta to Arlington, Texas, for the release of Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines. Don't miss your time to gain valuable insight on how to avoid the pitfalls of success. For appearance information, please go to info@palmerwilliamsgroup.org.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. I want us to give some birthday shout-outs right now. We're going to say happy birthday to Travis Clayton in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Francisco Julian Rodriguez in Harlingen, Texas, Daniel Airborne from Reading, Pennsylvania, Anthony DePremont from New Orleans, Charles Williams from Richmond, Virginia, Kennedy, my niece Griffin from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and then Roger Dawes. I also want to put out there too, you guys, again, for Sherman Williams, if you have not got his books, you need to. He is going to be on November 17th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. On the 18th at 12 noon at the University of Alabama at the PWG Vendor Tent, corner of 10th and 12th, across from the Connector, I think that's what it says, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. November 19th from 12 noon at the Dallas Cowboys Tailgate Party in Arlington, Texas. That's at the Collins Event Center. And then also on December 5th at 12 noon at the Dallas Tailgate in Arlington, Texas. And I also want to give a big shout out and congratulations to Ted Bear and William Thomas. They have won for their call in last week on the show. The collection of Sherman Williams books. So happy birthday to everybody. And if you want more information on the book signings, it'll be on the Destiny Talk Live Facebook page. You're listening to we're going to go on and continue talking, Santrell, about what we were talking to about before. We were saying now that with our women and our men and the addictions and stuff, we wanted to talk about how that affects your family and your children. You know, a lot of times we don't think that kids are paying attention.
Oh, yes.
To our mess until we're in the mess.
Oh, yes.
And then when we start seeing them doing behaviors or acting the ways that we were acting.
That's right.
Then we're mad.
That's right. You know, I can say for myself from ever since I can remember, I shied away from taking a Tylenol because I never wanted to take a chance with anything because you see it. And it's not that you condemn anybody, but I was that aware of the dangers of addiction. So I was this high, but I was keenly aware. So don't act like your kids don't see you because they see you.
Of course they do. I mean, they see all the disruptive behavior, but we, like we said before, many, many, many shows, if we're broken, we can't help nobody.
That's right.
I just want to offer a word of encouragement out there. The suicide rates are just off the chart. We're seeing too many things in the news where kids are being abandoned or abused, even murdered because of nonsense that we got going on in our life. And a lot of it centers around drug.
That's right.
A lot of it centers around alcohol. A lot of it centers around just rough upbringing, childhoods. Like, this is the way it happened when I was growing up, so this is how it has to be when they're growing up. You know, I was very good at trying to hide the alcohol from my kids. I don't think they really noticed it. And I think on my 32nd birthday, I came home, and when my oldest daughter had to help me in the house.
Wow.
Because I was toe up. Let me tell you something. That's the last time I really drank.
That's right. That's right. But isn't it, I don't know about you, Cherry, but as we've gotten older, and, you know, I always say, I'm 48 now, but I'm younger than I've ever been, if that makes sense.
It does. It makes a whole lot of sense.
When we're younger, we're older than we need to be. But what ended up happening, and I heard it in Edward's story, and I dare to say in yours, as we got older and we go through our own situations, we start to see our parents' situations differently, and we start to understand what the root was, and we have more mercy. Because back then we were, you know, our hearts were hurting and we were angry.
Right.
But then we learned to have mercy because we start to understand. And if I can encourage anybody out there that, you know what, I'm not saying to co-sign if your loved one is doing something that they shouldn't be doing. I'm not saying to co-sign. But don't harden your heart if at all possible, because it harms you more. Because you will, as time goes on, try to understand what is in the background with this. You can still love them from a distance if you have to, if they're not doing what they need to do.
Right.
But protect your own heart as well.
You know, and you're right. Because when you do harden your heart, it's very difficult to soften it back up.
It is. It takes
Okay,
a
you
lot of
know,
work.
and it still takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Still takes a lot of courage to do it too. You know, I even on my own personal journey, I know that every day I always tease and I say this to Santrell, God's still working on me.
That's right.
You know, and I tell her, I said, "Oh, okay, I have to step aside for a second
Yeah.
because I'm about to fall off the wagon. You know, because it's just those things that keep coming back up.
That's right.
You know, and it's like this young man, Edward, said, you know, I never blamed anybody for my mess.
Right.
I didn't. I knew I was raunchy. I knew I was messed up. I knew I had problems.
Uh-huh.
I may not have admitted it right away.
Yeah.
But I knew I didn't blame anybody
Right.
for what I was feeling because I took that burden in on myself.
Right.
You know, and I was very cautious at how I brought stuff around my children because
Yeah.
I didn't want them to see what I saw growing up or be a part of what I grew up in. I wanted it to be different.
That's
You know,
right.
am I saying I'm the best parent out there in the world that I never did wrong? Absolutely
Right.
not. I was the best parent that I can be, and that's how I had to look at it for my parents.
Right, at that.
For me to come around to the circle that they were
Exactly.
doing the best that they knew how, with what they knew how to do it.
Exactly.
You know, they were going off the blueprint that was placed for them.
Yes.
And, you know, and for
Yes.
me, I altered the blueprints that were set for me. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I get it, you know, and I tried very hard not to put my ill wills on my kids.
That's right.
And knock on wood, I thank God that neither one of them followed in my path. Because, you know, I keep saying I'm going to be the old lady with cats. But, you
Yes.
know, it took a minute.
It does.
And listen, I'm still working on it.
It's an ongoing process because our stories are still being written.
Right.
You know, but I think, you know, one of the overarching themes to this is that we all need to take responsibility for our lives.
Right.
You know,
You got to have accountability for yourself.
exactly.
Stop waiting for people to have it for you. You got to have
That's
it for
right.
yourself.
That's right.
And how many of us are afraid, Santrell, to take that accountability?
Right.
How many of us are afraid to admit, hey, I'm not perfect?
That's right. And nobody is saying walk around in condemnation because
no.
that is
No,
not
no, no,
productive at all either. But what we're saying is that just like Edward did, just like we continually, as we share our stories with the listeners, we tell you, you know what? Yeah, our stuff stunk.
Yeah, bad
But we
boy.
took
Woo.
responsibility for it to fix it, and we continue to do that.
Right.
So your life is yours.
Right.
Your life
You
is
only
yours.
get one, guys.
That's
You only
right.
get one.
And that is what we need to teach our children. I know we're not always perfect at it. Edward is teaching his boys that. You're teaching yours, and I'm teaching mine. It is your life. Be responsible for it.
And what I like what he said was he treats each of his kids differently because he
Yes.
knows how he has to handle them. And, you know, his
Right.
oldest boy, he said, went through a whole lot of mess.
Yeah.
Mom abandoning him, can't have him in
Right.
foster care, watching your grandparents you do drugs while your dad sell them to him. Hey, that's
Right.
a lot for a kid.
That's right.
And yes, they see that. 2, 3 years old, they remember that stuff.
That's right.
Don't think they don't know. These kids know they mimic what they see. They mimic it. You know, and I tell people all the time, you know, nobody's perfect, and you can't point fingers at anybody. You just got to own up to your stuff, and accept it. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
Enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
What's a dumb way to listen to an awesome mix of urban hits? Smart Rock.
Sensation Station Network.
Too much sauce.
When it comes to saving money, don't act like a baby.
Goo goo gaga.
Be the boss and make a budget.
I'm the boss, baby.
You're not the boss of me.
I am the boss of you.
Are not.
M2.
Are not.
M2.
Need a little help?
Aren't you going to do any work?
I'm very busy delegating.
Create a personalized savings plan
We could share.
You obviously didn't go to business school.
and get other tools and tips at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, and Santrell G, my co-host. We're talking about drug addiction, gang life, and how to overcome those things, and just expounding off the conversation we had earlier with our guest, Edward. If you are listening to us on Facebook and you want to type in your comment, please do so in the comment section, and we'll get back with you. If you're listening to us on TuneIn, or if you just want to call in or text 678-613-5857. You know, we talked about a lot of stuff today, Santrell,
Yeah, we
and stuff,
did.
and the biggest thing for me is everything keeps pointing back to the family.
It does. It does. Absolutely. Because when Edward was talking, the first thing I thought of was structure. And I know his parents were obviously not in the place, like we said, they did what they could with what they had. But structure is so important for kids. You know, sit down with them. It may not be every day. Sit down and have a meal with them. It may not even be at the table. You guys may be in the living room, but be together, be a family. We're not perfect, but kids need structure, even when they want structure, even when they're not asking for it.
And you know, it's not just kids though, Santrell. A lot of adults need structure.
Yeah.
A lot of them have, because especially if they were missing it when they were growing up,
Yeah.
they need it when they go, you know, get married and start their own families.
That's right.
You know, I say this all the time. I really didn't understand what love was, you know, because what I saw as love was nonsense, and I wasn't about that life, you know. But me and my kids did that. We talked. We did roundtable. My kids talked to me about anything, and I needed them to know that no matter what the situation was, I'm here for you.
Right.
And it's not hard to do. You just gotta sometimes not be so selfish. Step out of your own mess.
That's right.
And be there, especially for your kids.
Yeah.
And I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we want a life, that we want companionship, we want all that stuff.
Want
I
to do
get
what we
that.
want to do.
I get that.
Yeah.
But when you bring someone into this earth, they are your responsibility until 18.
That's right. And
They're
beyond.
yours.
They didn't
and
ask
beyond.
to come
You know,
here.
here's my thing. You can still do and be who you are, you know, and still have your fun, but take care of your kids.
Exactly. Exactly.
Take care of them.
I mean, there was a guy that I used to work with. I loved him, Mel and Faye. They had one child, but the one thing I always admired about them is that their son was off in college doing his thing. He had his girlfriend, had his own life, but he wanted to spend time with his parents. He wasn't a mama's boy or a father's boy, but
Right.
he actually wanted to be in the company of his parents. And I used to tell him, I said, Mel, I said, I aspire to you. My kids were much younger when I worked with him. I said, because when your kids, when they leave home and they want to come with you,
Oh,
I mean, they had this annual trip to Daytona for Thanksgiving that they would go to the races, and their Thanksgiving, he would pick up his son and his college buddies was at Hooters. But every year, this is what they did. They had things like that. And throughout the year, they spent time. When your kids want to come back and spend time with you, that
Absolutely.
says
That's
something. I said, that's what I aspire. I want them to want to come back home and hang out with us. I want them to.
Before we keep going, I want to give a big shout out to Russell Jackson for watching, and also Lori Penson.
Yeah.
That's a sister from another mother. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
We appreciate it. But you know, you're right. You know, we have to be careful at a lot of things that we do, especially when it relates to our children. A lot of us that stay in abusive relationships, when your kids see you going through, whether it's the man or the woman going through that nonsense, even down to the drugs. I can't even imagine, you know, well, I can, because even though alcohol is a drug, it wasn't like, you know, the other hard drugs.
Right.
I'm imagining it has the same effect, but it's difficult. It really is difficult. And it's like you said, and he said, I had to step back and look at, you know, this is what all my parents knew how to do.
Yeah.
You know, with 9 children, 9 different personalities. Like I told you, I'd probably drink too if I had that. I mean, because we are all different.
Right.
And when I tell you, widely different.
No two alike.
I don't think any of our personalities even come close together. But it's funny and it's fascinating. And I knew growing up, you know, even in our family, we have ill stuff and ill wills. But It's like you. I have a couple that I love from a distance.
Right.
Because you're not gonna bring me down.
That's right.
But it's sad to me at the same time
Absolutely.
that we can't get to a happy medium.
Right.
But do you give up? No.
No.
You keep going. Eventually they'll come around, and if they don't, long as your conscience is clear,
That's right.
you good.
That's right. You can only control your heart.
Right.
Only you can. And you have to be the caretaker of it. And that's why I was saying before, don't allow yourself, some people may have done some jacked up stuff to you and to be your family members, but you know what? It's okay because time has passed. And again, it's about your healing. What do they say? Your forgiveness is for forgiveness is for yourself.
You, not for
it's
anybody
not for that
else.
other
It's
person.
For you.
It's for you.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Jay Green. Thanks, Jay, for tuning in. I'm glad that you're tuned in today. I was really sitting here when you were saying that. We were talking about different things that we can do as a family to prevent stuff from continuing a cycle, to break a cycle. We talked about doing round tables. We talked about talking, eating dinner. It's little things, guys.
Yes.
Do game nights. We could do that. Or do something the kids want to do that day.
And here's, if I can share this with you, you know, parents, don't forget that your children know some stuff. And they may have some stuff to say to you that may not feel good. And I don't say, not in a disrespectful way, but they can put a light on some truth for you to help you see things differently. Don't push them aside because, oh, they're kids. They don't know anything. Because just like we've been saying, our kids see things. They've seen you at your worst. They've seen you at your best. Everything. So, you know, my son is my oldest. He is, I call him a truth teller. All of them, all three of my kids, and I know yours are too. And it doesn't always feel good when they show you yourself sometime, right? Or even if they're not showing you yourself, when they are just able to shed some light on life itself in a way that you've not seen it before, don't brush them aside. Don't minimize that because they are kids. Because these young people know a lot more than we want to give them credit for sometimes. Get your ego out of the way and hear what they have to say to you.
You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's the King speaking.
This is Jeremiah. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gotta be. Sensation Station Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
From the University of Alabama, the Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl, then prison. The remarkable story of Sherman Williams that you must read to believe. Crimson Cowboy, Peace Between the Lines, is the incredible journey of an NFL star continued road to redemption. You must get this book now at crimsoncowboy.com. crimsoncowboy.com.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
Enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier. There's strong, and there's Army Strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
They say everyone should have one. I'm thinking about getting me an appointment.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, and my co-host, Santrell G. We are up here just talking and having conversations with you guys about gang life, addiction, and making the right choices.
Yeah.
We had a guest earlier, Edward, that came and shared his story. It's an amazing story for a 26-year-old to have that much resolve and just
That's right.
doing what he needs to do. And just before the break, we were talking about, listening to our kids. They know our stuff. They know what we've been through. And I have to say, I could just share a story like my oldest. I'm one of those, with my kids especially. If you tell me you want to do something, I'm going to pick that thing up and run, and we're going to go in and we're going to make it, whoa, and they tell me all the time, like, Lord, if we want somebody to take over something or want it done, just tell Mom because she'll go get it. And, and I didn't realize that I was doing this, but they hadn't really adapted to the idea. It was just a thought, and I just took it and boom, 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 we're making it happen. And my oldest was like, you're kind of like a bully about it.
Wow. And you didn't even see, you didn't
I
know
didn't
that.
see it that way.
Wow.
So I was like, wait, I'm trying to do what you want me to do. They were just giving me an idea or a suggestion that came through their mind. I didn't really listen to see if that's something that they really wanted to do.
Right.
But it was no matter what it was they did, I would take on it, and you would have thought my kids was the best thing at it ever. They couldn't have been all that great, but they were the best thing to me. But that was really hard hearing that from her because I was like, and I ain't gonna lie, I was crunchy for a minute.
Mm-hmm. So it didn't feel good.
Didn't feel good, but I had to step back and listen to see what she was saying.
Right.
And I was like, okay, maybe so. So I stepped back a little. I mean, they weren't saying, hey, Mom, don't be there to support us, but let me get a hold of it first. Because, honey, I had book deals, whatever you want to call it. I'm just kidding. Exactly. We going to do this. They over here on CNN.
Mom, let us tell you, go. Let us tell you.
All you had to do was say, hey, I have an idea. What? It was written up. We were gone. It was done,
And the intention was good. If your heart was good, I want to help my kids do. And they're like, no, we're still back here thinking this thing about.
Oh, yeah. Because, see, my oldest, she's not like I am, like to where we have a lot of similarities. But where I can go in a room and just talk to anybody and jump on something and go. Tanisha doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She steps back and she looks around first. She has to get a comfort level. Deanna is going to. No, you just ain't going to walk up to Deanna and just start talking. She's going to assess the whole situation.
Right.
She's going to look at you and decide in her mind whether or not I'm going to be a friend of you or not.
Yeah.
Now, my son, he's like me, more like me. He can hold a conversation with anybody.
Yeah.
He loves everybody. He sees no wrong in anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to a fault.
Right.
But they all have this. They'll give you an opportunity, but it has to be at their pace.
Yes.
Tanisha is, she was more of I always tell people that was my thug of the family, And my son was the lover. He would love everybody. And my youngest is the one to step back and is assessing you and the situation, and they've, and that's what we as parents have to make sure that we understand that we don't do. I never judged them the same because I couldn't.
That's right.
The youngest, all you had to do was tell her you were disappointed in something, and okay, that ended her world. She'd change. My son and my oldest, my son, you had to show it to him. The oldest, she's that one that says, like you say, don't touch that envelope. She gonna touch the envelope, pick it up, tear it up, and throw it at you. That's just how much she was. I'm not just pushing the envelope. I'm gonna tear this envelope up and see what you gonna do. But you had to be able to deal with both of those.
That's right. That's right. And yes, it's work, but it's called a relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. It can't always be on your terms.
I know. Welcome. Hey, Ted Bear. Thank you for tuning in.
Bear.
We had a great show. We'll post it up so you can see it. Okay. But you're right. We all have to be. I mean, it's hard because everybody always says to me, Cherry, I can't believe you telling your life. It's already been told. There was somebody a part of whatever little mess I was ever going through. There was somebody a part of it.
Right.
So what am I exposing?
Exactly. And I am just a firm believer. I know I've said this before that, when we are transparent, there's somebody out there who's only going to be able to relate to what we're saying. They need us. And our success is somebody else's success because they see, they're dealing with a situation similar to mine, and they were able to overcome it, and so can I.
Yeah, because I tell people the situation I've been through, the things that we face in life, they weren't ours. They're not our story.
That's right.
It's not our story. It was for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked a lot today. A lot heavy, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Edward, 10 years old in the game.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on the 10 years old.
Right. But he's just like we said, he reminds me of how my grandfather used to say that he's been here before.
Yeah.
He's lived several lifetimes, but he's kind of an old man in a sense too.
Now, I know, Central, you said you had some numbers that help with a hotline for,
Yes.
what was it?
Yes, this is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, because oftentimes they go hand in hand. There may be something going on from the neck up, and so we're trying to kill that pain or whatever it is. It is a 24-hour 365 number. It's 1-800-662-HELP or 1-800-662-4357. And regarding gang activity, you know, I looked at research. What happens is the cities they customize it to the gang issues within their city. So if there is information that you need on how to get out of a gang, prevention or whatever it is, contact your local law enforcement agency and find out what their gang unit can help you with. They can give you information.
You know, and I also want to tell you about gangfree.org that we pulled some stuff off of, and it talks about the Gang Alternatives Program was established to target prevention program that incorporates virtually all of the do work strategies, including, because they say gang prevention education programs for 2nd, 4th, and 6th grades, supporting LAUSD and State of California principles of learning and objectives in reading and writing, reinforcing moral reasoning, social problem solving, thinking skills, and classroom behavior management. They also have a program called Graffiti Education and Prevention Assemblies in elementary schools. It says graffiti abatement partnerships with communities actively resisting the effects of gang culture. And then they have after-school programs for social skills, homework assistance and tutoring, case management, intake and referral services, parent project and team project, both in English and Spanish, addressing parent training, and then Liberty, life is being equal, responsible, and true to you.
Right.
I'm looking at this thing, and we do a lot of training on social skills, and I want to tell you guys just how important that is.
That's right.
It's not just for adults, it's for children, too.
That's right.
They've got to learn how to effectively communicate what they're feeling, what they're going through, and
Absolutely.
how to maneuver their way through this life, as
That's
well as
right.
critical thinking. Critical thinking is key.
Is key. Exactly.
key.
Exactly. And you've got to, you know, your emotional intelligence and things like that, you've got to be able to deal with yourself. And just because you are on this earth does not necessarily mean that you know how to deal with yourself. So like you said, Cherry, gangfree.org, even though they work out of California, these are programs that you can mimic. You can partner with them to use some of their information within your own community as well.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we really need to focus on. And again, I want to, send a message out there. I don't know who you are, or if you're male, female, whatever, and you're listening to this and you're going through some things right now that you think that you have no way out, you're feeling down about it, you feel like that you're the only one going through it. I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to know that there's others out here that can help you through whatever you're going through. It's never, suicide should never be the end result. It should never be the thing that you think you should do, because whatever you feel like, if you take your life and you leave this earth, that you're going to make it better for the people that you leave behind, you really don't. You leave a lot of broken hearts. You leave a lot of confusion. People wondering why didn't they see what you were going through? How come they couldn't help you? Why didn't you come to them? That's not something you need to do. You just need to know that you're not alone. And if you're contemplating, thinking about suicide or have those thoughts, you know, call 1-800-273-8255. They're open 24 hours.
right.
If you don't have access to a phone, get to somewhere to where you can talk to somebody, whether it be the church or anywhere.
That's right.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G.
And Santrell G.
You guys have a great weekend.
You think you can do this to me? I'm the man up in this piece.
Sensation Station Network.
tonight. See me thirst trap pics to my phone tonight.